Hello, everyone, and welcome to the LTH product briefing. I'm Nikki Shaver, the CEO of Legal Tech Hub, and I'm delighted today to be joined by Annie L'Esperance, the head of Americas for Jus Mundi. Welcome, Annie. Annie, this is wonderful because I know we've had a product briefing previously as well with Jus Mundi to see your AI offering. And today we are here for you to be able to showcase the latest release, Jus AI 2. Can you tell us a little bit about what to expect, what users should expect from the second iteration of Jus AI?
Absolutely. So we're very excited about the second version of our AI product. Our tech team has been very busy over the past few months. And so what we've aimed to achieve with this second version of our product is to answer three problems that our clients raise with us, or that the market raised with us, actually. So the first problem that we tried to resolve is generic AI versus specialized AI. As you know, you wouldn't ask an arbitration-related question to a corporate lawyer and vice versa. So the idea is to have an AI that is really rests on a specialized database of information. And at Jus Mundi, we have built the largest and most comprehensive database in arbitration. So it's specialized in arbitration of not only primary sources, so actual procedural orders, decisions coming from more than 100 partners worldwide, but also of secondary sources, so publications. So we've collated all of that in one centralized database of information, which the Gen AI sits on top. So you have a specialized AI. And I say specialized AI as well, not only in terms of the data that supports it, but also in terms of the AI itself. Our AI is now agentic. And the way we've tweaked it in the background is to ensure that it thinks like an arbitration lawyer. So it's not only in terms of specialized in terms of the data, but it also specialized in terms of the reasoning behind that is operating in the background through our agentic AI. The second problem that we try to resolve with this version of the tool is the level of accuracy of responses, especially as it pertains to legal research. So as I was mentioning, our AI is now agentic, which means that we have seen an increase of 125% in recall, meaning that we get better answers, better sources that are quoted by the tool when people ask legal research-related questions to our tool. And then when I say increase of, so level of accuracy of responses, what we've done as well to achieve that is we've blended the AI piece with our search engine piece, which means that now as a user, you have full control to decide whether you want to interact with the entirety of Jus Mundi's database, or you want to pinpoint the tool by using filters and traditional search engine to a specific subset of documents within the platform, so that you get that much more level of accuracy coming out of the output because you're targeting the tool to specific types of documents within Jus Mundi's platform. And then thirdly, the third problem we tried to tackle here is that AI has been very much a black box thus far. You have your input, you have your output, but what happens in between, how the AI is reasoning in the background, the user didn't have any transparency around that. So we wanted to bring that transparency to the user. And now you can see, and I'll showcase that in a minute, you can see the reasoning steps that the tool is taking to achieve the end results and the output coming out of the tool. So those are the three main problems that we've tried to resolve. So generic AI versus specialized AI, the level of accuracy of responses, which is that much more increased thanks to the control the user has to direct the tool to specific subset of Jus Mundi's database, and the agentic AI, which with better recall capabilities. And then finally, the problem that AI was a black box, and now the user is able to have more transparency in understanding how the AI reasoned to get to the final output.
Amazing. It's so interesting, Annie, because usually introduction of agentic AI it creates a concern among users that they're going to lose control and lose transparency. So introducing agentic AI into the platform at the same time as you're enhancing control, transparency, and accuracy sounds like a winning combination. Let's jump in and take a look.
So again, as a user on Jus Mundi, you can decide what type of experience you want to have. So you can decide either you want the search engine experience, and then you simply do traditional Boolean search that's still accessible to our users, or you can have the AI experience, and that's what I will be focusing on today, obviously. Not only can you decide the type of experience that you want to have, but you can also decide, again, which type of data you want to be interacting with. So if you want to interact with the entirety of Jus Mundi's database and to carry out legal research questions, you simply type up your legal query here and you'll have the answer coming out of the entirety of Jus Mundi's database. But if you want to target it, as what I was mentioning, to a specific subset of documents, you can use the filter. So you see it pops out in a separate window here on the left-hand side. And you can select, say, I want to carry out a legal research question as it pertains to specific cases coming out of a specific arbitration institution. And here we could say, for example, the AAA, you can see the level of the data that we have coming from that institution, where usually most of these cases are confidential. We're still able to catch a lot of data coming from them. So you could select those as filters and then apply them to your query. This combination or blend between the search engine and the AI, this is very unique in the market. I haven't seen under any other legal tech providers do this. Doesn't mean that they won't follow suit, but I think we're very much one of the first in the market to combine the two. The second thing that you can do as a user, apart from querying the entirety of Jus Mundi's database or pinpointing the tool to a specific subsection of the data set, is to interact with your own documents. So outside of legal research questions, you can upload your own documents to the tool. Those could be documents stemming from your arbitration case that are confidential. You can upload them to your vault in obviously a safe and confidential fashion and start interacting with those documents. You can converse with up to 50 documents at once within this tool.
And Annie, can I just ask, are you then able to combine your own documents with sources that already exist in Jus Mundi for
Correct. You
research?
can do that as well. And I will showcase that in a minute when I go into some prompt examples. And then lastly, what you can do as a user is you can decide in which mode you want the tool to answer. So by default, it will be in think mode, but you can also select the light mode. The light mode means that the answer will be generated a bit more quickly. You'll still have all of the essential elements of your answer, but there will be less, let's say, meat around the bone. Whereas think mode takes a little bit longer. You'll have a more fulsome answer, all of the essential elements, but maybe more sources, a bit more deeper answer, and a bit longer as well. So without further ado, what I'll do is I'll start with a document that have already uploaded to my vault, and this is a contract. We'll run the prompt already because I will be in think mode, so it might take a minute or two for the answer to be generated. And then I will walk you through the contract and the example that I'm showcasing to you.
Fantastic.
Okay, so the contract that I've uploaded is a 84-page contract. It's a PDF document. Look, I'm trying to click. I cannot select anything. I cannot do a search query. I cannot do anything with this PDF contract. This is a contract for the assembly of a water treatment plant as part of a solar power plant project in California. Okay, so let's say there's an issue that arises under the contract. The other side has informed you that they can no longer meet some of the agreed deadlines because they had to switch subcontractors. They requested an extension of time, but you do not want to grant that extension of time. So you're asking the tool, based on the uploaded contract, to draft a professional email. You're giving the tone to the tool. I want this to be professional, refusing their request for an extension of time. The email should refer to specific clauses in the contract, and the specific clauses have to be mentioned and quoted. And additionally, I want the tool to outline what actions the other side or our side need to take next in terms of the business relationship. Okay. So now what the tool is answering, you can see it has been thinking while I was chatting. But here, I just want to show you a bit the reasoning. So this is where you would see the reasoning of the tool. Again, I'm only interacting with that one specific document. And here, what you can see is the research plan, how it carried out its thinking, And so you can read through that. And then if you're not happy with one of the steps, you can then rewrite your prompt and say, no, I want you to do X, Y, Z, and it will recarry out its reasoning plan for you. Okay. So this is the answer that was generated. Again, we've asked for professional email. So we have a subject line, dear, we acknowledge receipt, etc. Here are your contractual obligations under the contract. You have the actual clauses being cited, and then you can obviously see exactly where it took the information from. You can see the source always being quoted. And then obviously reminding then the other side of, again, their contractual obligations with the specific clauses being cited, saying that, you should respect the timelines under the contract, no delays will be accepted. And then finally, some of the next steps that, we expect as of the other side and on our side. Okay. So again, I would think that this took what, 3 minutes? I assume this would have taken a lawyer probably a good 45 minutes to an hour to actually go back to the contract, find the clauses, draft something meaningful. In the meantime, this was generated in a matter of 3 minutes. So again, you have information retrieval here, an analysis of a contract, the drafting of an email, and in a professional, obviously, tone. So again, the dispute has not yet arisen, but it's looming and you're preparing the field for a potential arbitration under the contract. Now what you can do too, because the contract was with Abener, right? You are Abener, so it is a Spanish party. So you may ask the tool, well, can you please, translate this answer into Spanish and also keep the sources so that it refers back to the contract. And so it will draft that in Spanish. This tool is completely multilingual. I mean, we support more than 100 languages. All of the major ones are supported by this tool. And what's great as well is if you're doing a legal research question on Jus Mundi's data, we have a number of data that is not in English, is in Spanish or in other languages, thanks to our partners in other jurisdictions. And so when you're querying the tool, you'll still get those elements, as part of your response, even if they're in another language. So the multilingual search capabilities are very good as well of this tool, not only pure translation, but search capabilities as well. And so here you have, again, the previous answer translated into Spanish in matters of seconds. So there you have it. Now, I'm going to showcase something a little bit different. So I'm going to go back to my home page. And now the dispute has arisen. You are looking to appoint an arbitrator. Now, what this tool cannot do, you cannot ask the tool, please find me 10 great arbitrators to sit for my case, and giving a specific example of what your case is about. You can't do that. The tool won't do that for you. But what you can do is you can ask the tool how did this specific arbitrator decide specific issues in the past? Can you provide me with an analysis around that? Okay. So now we're looking to appoint an arbitrator. I'm changing scenarios a bit. This is for an investment arbitration. I'm going to pinpoint again. I'm going to use and leverage Jus Mundi's data, but I want to target a specific arbitrator. So I'm going to use the filters. I only want cases. So I'm going to click on cases. And in terms of filters, I only want decisions, right? I don't want procedural orders or anything else. So I'm going to go with type of document. I'm going to select decisions. And then the other thing I want is to target a specific arbitrator that I think might be good for my case based on my previous experience or some of my partner's experience with that specific arbitrator. So let's say I'm looking to potentially appoint Mr. Christopher Thomas. So now that I've input the filters, now I'm going to interact with that specific subset of documents concerning Mr. Thomas. And here's the query that I'm going to ask, and I'm going to copy paste this for you so that it goes a little bit faster. I'm asking the tool to analyze Mr. Thomas's interpretative approach to treaty clauses in investment arbitration. So between textual, theological, or systemic interpretation styles. And that's obviously pursuant to the Vienna Convention on the Law of Treaties. Now, to spare you the waiting time, I've done the prompt already, so we'll go straight to my history here and we'll be able to see what the type of answer was generated. As you can see, I see the reasoning steps. 3 sources were identified for this. Mr. Thomas has issued more decisions than 3, but potentially the tool only selected the ones where those interpretative approach were the most discussed. But doesn't mean that this is full and complete and perfect, but it's still a very good start. Because again, this was done in a matter of 3 minutes and not 10 hours. So here is the answer that was generated in a memo style introduction, drawing from 2 specific cases mentioned here. It explains as well what is the difference between these types of interpretations, what is Mr. Thomas's approach under each of these interpretations, and then finally there's an actual analysis of Mr. Thomas's tribunals, how they interpreted those interpretation standards across the cases. And clearly it says, they're not mutually exclusive or hierarchical, but rather they're treated as complementary. And there's an analysis around that. You have the cases, quotes to the cases, and the conclusion. So again, this can be helpful if you're trying to find quickly, okay, this seems to be, the right type of interpretation that I might like for my case around those clauses. Not saying it's perfect or complete, but still a very good start.
Very cool. I really like the way that it combines the information, the knowledge about Christopher Thomas, but also about the law around treaty interpretation.
Correct. And that's, again, the beauty of having a specialized database of information that backs the AI, of course. And then finally, the last example that I'd like to give you is to showcase the power of using your own documents, but also Jus Mundi's documents, as you alluded to earlier, Nikki. So what I'm going to do here, and I'm going to upload a fact pattern. So now I have a dispute has arisen. I've appointed my arbitrator. Now I need to file, my statement of claim. I have maybe my request for arbitration, but I need to file a more fulsome statement of claim. So I'm going to upload a fact pattern, okay, around a potential claim. Again, I'm changing scenarios now, and I'll explain that a little bit in a minute. But to run the query already, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy paste and I'm going to walk you through the query. So it's a legal research query around the fact pattern I've uploaded, but because it's legal research, I want to use the power of Jus Mundi's database. So I'm going to click on this toggle, Jus Mundi's data. And now I'm going to search. So not only am I interacting with that document, but I'm also interacting with Jus Mundi's database. So I'm going to walk you through the case example. So the fact pattern, I'm going to open it for you so that you can see what I've uploaded. So this is the fact pattern. So it's a wind farm project. There's an EPC contract between a consortium of US and European contractors. The EPC contract provides that the contract is governed by New York law, with disputes referred to arbitration under the AAA ICDR rules, seated in New York. There's obviously a situation that arises under that contract. 6 turbines suffer catastrophic structural failures. And so you're considering potentially launching an arbitration because of that situation to recover significant costs and delays caused by those structural failures. So going back to my query, what I'm trying to do here is I'm asking the tool, now, I'm counsel for claimant, what contractual claims should the owner consider under New York law, including claims for, and then, you already have your ideas as to the potential claims you might ask, so you can pinpoint the tool to that. So including claims for defective design or workmanship, breach of express warranties, etc. And also how might exclusions or limitations of liability in the EPC contract impact these claims. And so here you see the reasoning steps. Again, you have the research plan. It's interacting with your document, but it's also looking at, Jus Mundi's data around under New York law, obviously trying to understand the New York law principles for these types of claims. And so it is still reasoning here. So what I'm going to do, just to save you some time, I'm going to go back to my history here and we'll show you the answer that was generated. So here again, a memo style introduction, taken obviously from the actual fact pattern, and then overview of the relevant contractual provision, and then the factual background, again, coming out of the fact pattern, but then what are the contractual claims available to the owner under New York law? And then what's great is you have an analysis, okay, what are the relevant facts and contract language, potentially the applicable New York law, some of the evidentiary requirements under that specific type of claim here. And it looks also as precedents under other ICDR tribunals that have decided similar types of issues. And it does the same for each of the potential claims. So again, you're using the power of the database, the Jus Mundi's database, to help you craft this response.
Oh, it's comprehensive, the response.
Yeah, it's very, very much comprehensive. So again, I think with these three types of examples, I tried to showcase first how you can interact with a very, very long document or contract and get to the information that much more quickly. There's analysis going on in the background to pinpoint the specific clauses, and then there's drafting being done by the tool, and then potential translation. So you see different types of use cases with the tool. Then also researching. Yes, here I picked a specific arbitrator, but you can research anything, procedural issues or anything you want with this tool, given that we have that significant database in the background. And then leveraging the power of the database alongside your own documents and your own specific case with this last prompt example that I've shown you.
And of course, everything's so much more powerful because of the vast content resource that Jus Mundi already has for international arbitration. Super helpful. Well, Annie, thank you so much for sharing this with us. Jus AI 2 looks like a fantastic release, extremely helpful to people. For people to get in touch, we will put a URL for Jus Mundi along the bottom of the screen. But Annie, is there another way where people should reach out to you or the team?
URL is perfectly fine. I'm happy to share my email address if that's helpful as well to you. I guess the last thing I'd like to mention, if I may, since we launched this product a couple of weeks ago, we've gone and met with our clients and the market, and the feedback that we've received is so positive. So we're very excited about that. Many people are saying, oh, this is going to save me so much time, or this. But apart from that, it's also, oh, if I knew my competitor had this product, I would definitely be scared. So anyway, we're very happy with the feedback and that we've received from the market so far, and hopefully people will continue embracing it.
That's wonderful, Annie. Well, thank you again for joining us. Thanks to all of you as well for joining us. We'll see you next time.